Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I am talking with Corey, the writer of Batman to the Slaughter, which is a fan film, and it's a horror take on Gotham that dives deep into Professor Pig and the Dollatron. How are you doing today, Corey?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Excited to kind of get some information on this film.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about it.
Heck yeah, man. All right. So, first question. For the people who are new to the film, how would you describe it in a few sentences or less?
I mean, your intro kind of like set the tone for it. It's gritty. It's very suspense horror driven. Um, and it's not polished by any means. Like this isn't your typical live action Batman story. It's the ugly side of Gotham for sure.
Gotcha. All right. Um, what was the original spark for this project, and why did you choose Professor Pig over any other villain that you could have?
Ooh, that is a great question. So I actually wrote a Batman novel kind of deal, like or like a novella a couple years ago, and there was two two or three chapters that involved Professor Pig in that I really liked and that stood out amongst the rest. And um I don't know, the Arkham Batman Arkham Knight game really was the foundation. It made me fall in love with that villain. So I guess I just wanted to put out there like that Professor Pig is and has the potential to be like a top villain for Batman, and he
Yeah.
shouldn't be slept on for sure. Um, but yeah, like writing that story, which the novel that I wrote, it's loosely adapted in our film, but um, it's just really gross, basically.
Yeah, from everything that I've read about Professor Pig, he seems the most able to be grotesque.
Oh, by a long shot. And yeah, we do some pretty vile things with him. I've written some pretty rough stuff. Like in our story, he does some twisted stuff to a particular like main character, and it yeah.
Cool.
And growing up watching horror movies makes it easier to write stuff like that too.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, for the next question, what about Pig made him the right villain for a full horror story? I guess that was kind of answered with the last question.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just his look, and then like our actor playing him, Clifford Sparks. He already has like a very good like creative mind for like weird imagery. So when we first started getting like costumes down for the story or to like do principal photography, I sent him a mask that I really dug, and then he like snapped back right away and was like, "What about this one instead?" And I'm like, "Ew, do that one. Like that's the way to go." Like he like latched on and made it look as like gross as he possibly could. So I'm like, perfect. I don't have to do a whole lot with that.
And did you aim for a comic accurate Pig or more of a reinvention?
Um, More of a reinvention. Like, let me think. It's not really a spoiler, but like you said that like he was exposed to like the neurotoxin that made him kind of what he is, and the Dollatrons in this, it's a little different. When he was really young, and I wanted to play with this like idea that there's a parallel between Pig and Batman, but when Pig was really young, at least in our story, he was exposed to a um, mass shooting in a toy store, and that mass shooting killed both his mom and dad. But he was closer with his mom, obviously. Um, and basically instead of going into foster care and, you know, usually how that goes in like Batman stories, it's never a good sign unless Batman picks you up, which, that's rare. But um he kind of just goes with the flow growing up in Gotham in the streets. He gets some like odd end jobs, um, working for like as a nurse under a different identity, things like that. And he slowly starts to build this like resume and like build this world up in his mind that he can possibly bring his mom back to life. And we obviously are embracing a little bit of the fantastical side of Batman, which I always like to do. I don't like an overly grounded, Gotham. So he messes with like chemicals of like pig's blood and some other stuff. And in doing so, when he injects that into people's bloodstreams, it gives them like a almost like a zombified esque demeanor. So that's kind of where the Dolatrons come into play. And then he's going around using them to like get body parts so he can recreate his mom. So that's kind of like his foundation to the story is he's very like Norman Bates, um, Hannibal Lecter, uh, Ed Gein vibes,
Okay.
basically.
That kind of answers our next question of what psychological themes of Pig did you focus on the most?
Oh yeah, yeah, pretty much that. Like he is mentally messed up from trauma. So basically, like where Bruce dealt with his parents' death in a different way, Pig deals with it in his way. So they're both cut from the same cloth. They just did things their own different ways.
Yeah, I mean that I remember reading something once of this is gonna go into like a dark moment for a lot of people, possibly. But I'd read online that if you grew up around like if two twins grew up around the same like parent drinking, uh both could end up becoming alcoholics of their own, or one could grow up hating the idea of alcohol and only one grows up to be an alcoholic. So it's really I think it's really
That
neat psychologically wise. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, but uh it's a
no, that
it's a
that's
really cool
a good way to look at
contrast.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah, that I never really thought about it that way. I guess like in like the Batman mythos and lore, like Thomas Wayne is kind of like that, or not Thomas Wayne, Thomas Elliot, um, which is Hush, because they were like best friends growing up, and they both had their own trauma to deal with,
Right.
so they both went off and did their thing. So like, I guess Pig kind of is adapted that arc, but yeah, no, that's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah. And how did you approach designing the Dollatrons for live action?
We didn't reinvent the wheel at all with that. We just wanted to make it look as recognizable as possible. So they wore the hospital gowns, basically nothing else on them except for the hospital gowns and the gauze around their heads.
Gotcha.
They and they we put some like fake blood on their faces and stuff, but um they look as what you would think a Dollatron would look like.
Okay. I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
we that was the one thing I didn't want to like over try to like stylize or do anything different with. I was like, if people know Professor Pig and his stuff, you're gonna see them and be like, oh snap, you know, we're doing a pig story. And if you've never seen it, you're just like, oh, they're crazy people in hospital gowns. Where's this gonna go? So yeah.
Nice. Um Now did you lean more into surgical realism, or did you go more for like uncanny valley doll horror with them?
The uncanny stuff. Like um they I don't know how to explain it because we didn't have like a huge budget for um the whole movie, but we just wanted them to look like escaped like mental patients basically that Pig is basically using and manipulating in his way. So he didn't have to get like super hands on. He just injected them with some of his serum basically to say like, hey, this is going to make you feel better. And they're like, okay. They take it, bend to his will, and um, they go off and they fight Batman.
Gotcha. Um, so what was the biggest challenge of bringing the Dolatrons to life?
I think so. Trying to like think back when we wrote the script, I think the hardest thing was to make sure that one, we had actors that could act like robotic, two, actors that could act robotic and be able to like fight and like at least stage a fight. So
Oh,
like right out the gate, I was like, oh shoot, like we can't just pick up like any Joe Schmo off the street and do this because it's pretty elaborate. I had an ex coworker of mine, Jason Tyler. He was like one of the lead ones of the three. Um, he was excellent in choreographing the fight and like really selling the weird like movements and mannerisms. And then the other two guys, they're local professional wrestlers from Imagine Wrestling over
oh,
in
okay.
Altoona.
Yeah.
Uh, Justin and Micah Strickland.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so both of those guys, they know how to like sell punches and sell moves and all the physical stuff. So me playing Batman and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing at all. All three of those guys together made made it so much easier and it was a lot of fun. And I can't wait to do more of that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like picking up wrestlers honestly is a really good idea.
Yeah, like I already told them I was like if we do a sequel, there's talks of it. Um, I'm gonna bring them back for multiple different roles that won't obviously show their faces, but like they're the guys to go to. Like any kind of professional wrestler, anybody that does like anything like that, that's like go to.
Yeah. So what qualities were you looking for in your actor for Pig?
Anybody that could get as sick and like twisted as possible. Obviously, we're acting, but um, when I initially had shown um, my friend Clifford Sparks my story, the novel that I wrote, the pig stories are obviously the ones that stuck out to him too. And then when the ball started rolling, I wrote a script. Wasn't really sure about it. Um, I let him read it, and he was like, "I want to play pig. Like that's it. That's what I want to do." So that one was actually really easy to get. It was everybody else that was a little difficult to try to cast.
Gotcha. Now the next question is one of my favorites.
Okay.
Um, was Pig's performance scripted very tightly, or did you allow for improvisation?
Ooh, that is a phenomenal question. I would say his script was written very like tightly. Like I didn't want him to veer off too much. Like I think just about everybody involved in the movie, I let them kind of have some kind of creative freedom with it. Like you're the character, this is the blueprint to the script, but don't fall too far off of it, but still have some fun with it. But with him, it was so precise and so like it was supposed to be gripping and like twisted. I didn't want him to go too over the top with it. And I think he knew that he not only didn't want to do that, but like maybe he didn't feel comfortable doing it because like you really have to get into a headspace for a character like that. And he probably didn't want to dive too deep into it.
Right.
So yeah, he stayed pretty on track with it. Um, and we're in the process of doing his voiceover stuff now since like all the scenes with him with a mask, the audio is really muffled since he's behind like a jillion layers. But yeah, we're doing his voiceover stuff, and that's when you can really have a lot of fun with it. Is like you can, change the way your mannerism is as long as it's within that time frame, and he's gonna really grasp onto that.
Oh, that's nice. Um, Now Batman is typically seen as the source of fear in pretty much any adaptation of him. So how did
Mhm.
you approach putting Batman into a horror scenario instead of making him the source of fear?
Um, that is also another great question. Uh, oh man, how do I answer this? He is still very much feared in Gotham, in this story. So having Pig, it's weird. So the citizens of Gotham in this don't know how scared and like worried Batman truly is. Only people close to him know that. Um, because this is the first of his rogues so far that he can't seem to like get a lead on. Like he can't get ahead of it and figure out who it is. And I think everyone around him is starting to like catch him slipping up in that regard. But the city still knows Batman is like the one guy you don't mess with. And he's like the last glimmer of hope too. So there's a little bit of that. Like the movie starts off right out of the gate, like, oh, Batman's the guy you don't mess with. And this is the result of that. Um, but as it goes along, you start to realize like, okay, Batman is still instilling fear, but he's starting to rely on anger and like frustration. Like he's got a shorter timer, like he's getting impatient with everything that's happening. And Batgirl, Gordon, so many other characters in it are like there's still hope there for them that Batman can do it, but they're like, you're starting to turn into someone we don't quite know anymore, and like we don't know if we want to like keep following you or wait it out. So um yeah, he's still very much like the the fearful Batman that everybody knows in this for sure.
Okay. Now, does the film treat Batman more as a detective or a fighter or, like more of a mix of both?
Um I would say it's a very good mix of both because I like my detective Batmans, but I also like my built like a brick shit house Batman that would like make you wish you were dead kind of deal. Um, so trying to balance those out was fun, but I took elements of all my favorite like versions of the comics and live action and animated, um, and try to just like blend them all in together. Um, and a lot of people that were working on it were like, "Oh, is this like an early Batman, like a year one, year two kind of deal?" It's actually year five Batman, and a lot's happened, and he's like I said, he's like slipping up. Like he is a detective, he is a fighter, but like in both of those regards, like his mind is just shot. So he's not at his A game for either of those. So we had a lot of fun kind of like messing with that toss up of both of those.
Okay. And that kind of answers the next question a little bit too of did you intentionally make Batman more vulnerable than usual?
Yes, 100%. Um, I like a vulnerable Batman. I think if you have a as a game all the time Batman, it's a little boring. Like not that I don't like that version of Batman. There's great ones out there, but I think Batman always should be somewhat vulnerable just because I mean that's how he was raised was, the horrific event that happened that basically created Batman. Like there's always a sense of like vulnerability there.
Yeah. I think
And
that's
yeah, he
I'm sorry, go
oh
ahead.
go ahead, sorry. No, you're good.
I was just gonna say, I think that's my favorite thing about Batman as a superhero. Because if you look at any other superhero, they're just, you know, superheroes. But Batman
Right,
is more or less just a rich kid with insane muscles and fighting
right,
skill.
right. Like it makes him almost, I guess going back to the fear thing is like he's just a human and people fear him like he's like this demon or I don't want to say God, but like almost, at
Yeah,
least to the city. Um, which that was another thing we played with too, is like there's very, very small Easter eggs, and I'll just say it because like people might not catch it in the movie, but like the Wayne Foundation and everything, Wayne Enterprises is like in the dumps right now. Like stocks are super low. Alfred was like, I don't like this person you're becoming. I'm splitting for a bit. So like Alfred takes a vacation, so he's not really in this story all that much. Um, and like Bruce lost everything to a fire from Scarecrow, or I'm sorry, not Scarecrow, Riddler. Um, so like he's working on like bare necessities. Like he has a makeshift costume with like very little tech going on, and he's basically like a year one Batman again, but he has the trauma and the experience to kind of like guide him through not having as much of what he normally would have.
gotcha. And what type of horror does the film lean into most? Is it more psychological, slasher, body horror?
Psychological. A lit well, we didn't go as far into body horror as I would have liked to. Like if we had planned it out maybe just a couple more months ahead of time, I think we could have got like a bigger budget to kind of mess with that stuff. But it's definitely psychological. It's I was really, really, really inspired by like Seven, obviously, um, which I feel like Sevens should be like your if you're doing a detective Batman story should be your like foundation. It's like get that grit, get that detective story, watch Seven. And then like I guess like aesthetic wise, like The Collector, which is like a really deep cut horror movie, but that was a big inspiration too. I guess for Pig a little bit.
Gotcha.
And I mean like Texas Chainsaw, technically, Texas Chainsaw, Silence of the Lambs, a lot of those movies were all kind of like the driving force while writing it and like filming it is like we got to make this look as grimy and like slummy as possible.
Okay. I like it. Now I ran this question by my brother yesterday, and he says that he has the answer, so I'm curious if they match up. Uh,
Oh, okay.
was there a boundary that you didn't want to cross in terms of filming?
Boundary I didn't want to cross in terms of filming. I think I know what he was regarding. Yeah, we um we had kicked around this idea when we get into the pig lair of having like bodies strung up, which I am kind of kicking myself for not doing it, but um I liked the aesthetic and the idea of it. I just wasn't sure how comfortable I was with doing it and how, other people would be. But I loved his mindset for it. I don't know if that's what his answer was for it, but
So, I can actually give his answer.
okay.
So, his answer was apparently somebody, if I remember correctly, somebody wasn't able to like show up or something
Yes.
for some reason, and his daughter had signed up, and you're like, no.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how I feel about him killing kids in it.
Right.
I was uh, like I think that's like a really twisted thing to do. Obviously, that's horrific. but I didn't know if it would necessarily make sense for him, like Pig as a character, because he's trying to bring his mom back and getting a kid like with growing organs. I was like, I don't know, like, eh. But
Yeah,
maybe we can save it for something in the future.
yeah. That was he says that he was like, I think I know what he's gonna give for that
Yeah,
question.
we were on the same track. It's just the first part of it. I was still like we were planning on doing it and getting everybody there, and then when that person like backed out, I was kind of like, well, maybe that was slightly like a blessing in disguise. Like maybe that was a good call. I don't know.
Yeah. So we kind of already hit on this question a little bit, but what horror films or directors influenced the tone of this movie?
Yeah, I mean David Fincher is one of my all-time favorite directors. Um, like Tobe Hooper for Texas Chainsaw. I'm trying to like early James Wan. I don't count like the Conjuring stuff, so like Saw and everything he did beforehand. Um, Silence of the Lambs, obviously. A lot of the like like how do I explain this? I have a very like cinematography driven mind. So like when I like write these stories, I can see the scene in my head and like the tone and the colors and this, that, and the other thing. And like a lot of those movies from the 90s and like the early 2000s, like at least the way they were shot and like the colors that they used, that's really what I was trying to like capture in it. Not obviously the movies themselves because there's some stinkers in the early 2000s, but um, I think actually, ironically, the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2003 one, the colors in that are, as a kid watching that, I was like blown away. Like obviously it was really gory and like graphic. Um, so like yeah, I think that explains why I'm like I wanted to do a Batman story that was like more horror driven because like I watched movies like that growing up all the time and I love Batman.
Gotcha, gotcha. I like it. I like it. I like where the mind's at for creating
Yeah.
this movie. Um, so how would you best describe the version of Gotham that you've created?
um Really depressing. Really like I wouldn't live there, but ironically like I do live here where we shot it all. Um Obviously we did this with like a shoestring budget, and I have to say I can't thank all the people that donated enough. Like without them, this wouldn't have happened at all. So we shot it all in Phillipsburg, which is really hard to do because it's a small town in central PA, as where Gotham's supposed to be like this big, gothic noir city. So I think we got it enough that like it feels like Gotham, so that like when it's out there and if we do a sequel, I think we'll be able to like go to like Pittsburgh, maybe travel a little bit more, get some like bigger buildings. Um, but that plus like the colors that we used, I think it looks gross and grimy. And there's there's one shot at the end, and Nick's daughters uh, helped out with that a lot, with like a little kid gets mugged. So this is the Gotham that we've built. Like nobody's safe really. Like kids will get mugged for their lunch money by you know whoever. So it's yeah, it's a not a great place, but hopefully the people that stick around are only there because of Batman.
Gotcha. Um, so what inspired the design of Pig's Lair?
Ooh, uh, just as creepy and dingy as possible. That was the hardest, easily the hardest thing to like. find a location for because we found it two 2 weeks before we started shooting. So it like came up at the most perfect time possible. Originally, when I wrote the script and I did some of the storyboard artwork for it, it was the actor that played Pig's basement. But I love the layout of it. I love the way the stairs came down, and um, it was just a really good layout. It was really like creepy down there, but the ceilings were too short. I was hitting my head, you know, nonstop down there. And I'm like, plus, if I'm wearing bat ears, I'm gonna break one of them off, or it's just a recipe for disaster. So I'm like, we got to figure out something else, which broke my heart because the storyboards, there was a particular way I wrote it that it was going to be so cool. But I'm so happy with the location that we found too. Um, I had it so like Batman came down the stairs and in the shadows as he like turns left, Pig's standing there watching him. And as like a viewer, you're supposed to be like, oh shoot, he missed that. Like, oh my God, look behind you. And he was eventually going to creep up. Didn't get to quite do that, but Tyler Wallstrom at Rock and Ruthless in Phillipsburg, he owns this like old hardware store on Front Street. And when we did our principal photography, he showed us that basement, and I was like, "Yep, this is it. Like, we have to do it down here," and we did it. And like everyone that was there, Nick, Mackenzie, um, I feel horrible. I forget Nick's neighbor's name.
I couldn't
She was
help you with
wonderful.
that one. I know who you mean
I
though.
know. I'm friends with her on Facebook. So if you're watching this, I apologize when it's out there. But like her and my cousin Lily, who played Batgirl, they were all phenomenal with like setting that basement up and making it look gross. And it it was wicked down there. There was a lot of like dust. So like my costume was filthy after we shot that, but it was worth it.
Heck yeah, man. Now I know with having a small budget for a film like this, a lot of it ended up having to be practical. Uh,
Oh yes.
but as like a 50-50 scale, how much of it was practical versus digital?
I would say 98% was practical and 2% is like digital. We really leaned into uh the practical side of thing. The only thing digital in it are obviously like the piped in sound effects, and there was a couple scenes where we had to add in like muzzle brake, like the fire off the gun, and like a blood splatter from a gunshot. That's it. Which we're still in the process of like adding that in, like making it look good with all the lighting and whatnot. It's a little tedious because we're all very novice to this stuff, but um, yeah, it I would say all of it is pretty much practical.
I like that. I like that a lot. I feel like a lot of the practical movies, I feel like stand out more versus a lot of digital movies.
I mean, they stand the test of time too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Um, like I showed my fiance a movie, oh, The Fly with Jeff Goldblum,
Mm,
David Cronenberg movie. Love
yeah.
that movie to death. Um, when I showed that to her for the first time, obviously that's an 80s movie, but like all the practical effects of like when he's transforming and he's like ripping, skin off and ripping his jaw off and everything, like that stuff sticks with you. Like you'll remember that because like it looked, I wouldn't say it looked real, but like I think it looks better than CGI and digital stuff.
Yeah. Especially with like a lot of the CGI stuff, if you look back on it after a few years, you like really see how like bad it is. I mean, take
Yeah.
take the Scorpion King for example. I don't know if
Oof.
you've looked back at that recently, but oh my goodness, is it rough?
It it's very rough. That's the thing is like growing up with those movies, I think they're great. I still love them, but like they are definitely hard watches nowadays.
Through that.
Like there's so many movies from the early 2000s where I'm like, "Ooh, I do not remember it looking like that at all."
Yep.
But then there's movies like Jurassic Park that or Terminator 2 that still look phenomenal, especially with like the 4K restorations they've done to them.
Oh
They
yeah.
look like they were filmed recently. It's crazy.
Yeah. The ones that do it really well really do. But
Yes.
imagine if they could do something with like Jurassic Park where they made like entirely practical,
Oh my God. I would love that.
right?
I
That would
know
be
it
so expensive.
that would be so expensive. I'm sure someone out there could probably do it, but like there has to be a little bit of I would assume there's a little bit of digital involved because I've seen those like weird puppet dinosaurs they do at like theme parks where
Yeah.
you can see the human's legs still, but
Yeah.
it's someone like controlling that. It's like practical. And like if you could just get rid of the human legs, you have perfection. Like that's horrifying.
Yeah. Now, this next question I am genuinely excited about the answer to.
Oh, oh,
Um so was there a moment on set where you thought like, okay, this is genuinely disturbing?
uh, yeah, there is a very, very, very key one, and we have footage of it, and I'm sure it'll get out there at some point if we do like a little like special features type deal. But how do I say this without spoiling? There's a particular character that is in distress, and um, the in the script it was like very, very vague, like what to do. But this particular actor took it above and beyond, and like so when they yelled cut, I'm in full costume as Batman. And I have to walk through this doorway. I'm supposed to be like shocked at what I see, and they start screaming at the top of their lungs, like bloody murder. And I come through there and I broke character because I was like, oh my God, like that sounded like real. Like, are you okay? And they're like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, holy shit. And they had uh like wounds on them and stuff. So like I was like, oh my God, this looks like a like a serial killer's lair. Like it's messed up looking down here. There's like blood all over the walls and things hanging. I'm like, whew, like, all right, we gotta get back in character here. But yeah, that was the craziest part of that whole thing. I was like, oh my God.
That's awesome.
And I completely forgot too. Nick pointed this out. So the room that we filmed that particular part in where I like heard the screaming, there's a plastic tunnel shaft thing to like drop, I'm assuming like equipment down into the basement from ground floor. And that screaming echoed and like reverberated up that tube into a residential neighborhood. And Nick was outside smoking when that happened. And he's like, that was like the most loud, blood curdling scream I may have ever heard. And it was like with a bunch of like really nice apartment buildings right next to it. So that was funny. Scary. I was like, oh God, they're gonna call the cops.
Hey, those are called extras when that happens.
Yeah. We had some cops like drive by when we were filming a scene and they looked straight at us and I'm in full like Batman costume and they kind of just gave us like the like nod of approval and kept driving. So that was pretty cool too.
Oh man. Uh, so did the people playing the Dollatrons, did
Mhm.
their makeup or prosthetics ever unsettle themselves or any of the other actors?
Um no, I don't think so. They I think we didn't have a whole lot of people there that day when we were filming. It was just the director, me, the three Dollatrons, and the actor that played Pig. And um, I don't think they were as disturbing as Pig. I think whenever he was in full costume and everyone saw him for the first time, they're like, "Ew!" Like there was like a collective like, "That's fucked up." So yeah, the Dollatrons was pretty mild. What was cool was Micah's hair is like he dyes it like red, like ruby red, and with the gauze like around him and like fake blood on him, I thought he looked like really like he stood out, I guess, over the other two where they kind of just were like brooding um, with like the gauze wrap and the fake blood and stuff. But he with his hair like sticking up and out of like the gauze, I think he looked creepy, and I had to like act with him, so like I had to like yell and scream at him, and I'm like, yeah, he looks pretty creepy. Like I like his look.
Heck yeah. Uh, so I was gonna cut this question because I feel like it kind of forces spoiler territory. Um,
Uh, Go
but
for it. I can probably answer around it.
yeah, so the question is, what scene changed the most from script to final cut?
Ooh. Um. Oh, geez. This one is gonna take me a second.
Yeah,
Other
take your time.
than other than the pig lair, which we did have to change quite a bit, just because it was a different layout than what I had originally thought. Um. Shoot, what did change the? Oh, it would have been the second scene in the movie. It was the crime scene with all the extras and the police lights and stuff. It from script to scene, there's a little bit of like backstory here. From script to filming, it translated pretty much perfect, but we had a change in like main actor right after we filmed that scene because we wanted to reshoot some parts because we didn't like the way certain things sounded. Maybe we didn't like the way the dialogue kind of flowed. Um, but we changed the actor. There was like a scheduling thing, and it was just a lot going on. And thankfully, we had someone come in and play uh, replace the original actor for Commissioner Gordon. And when I did that, I changed pretty much all the dialogue because like watching what we had filmed and seeing like how he like knowing how he is, I was like, no, we got to change this. We got to make this more fluent. Like these two have like talked to each other for 5 years and like been out nightly. Um, I would say that was like the biggest change because I rewrote just that scene, like that script. So the dialogue was just better between us two. So it was just smoother, basically.
Gotcha. I think I think Nick shared a picture at one point of that scene, just from not like his point of view, but like just of like a couple of the extras in that.
Yeah,
He was real
yeah,
excited about being part of it.
yeah. That was the second thing we filmed, and that was the most demanding one of the entire movie, I would say, just because of the extras and um, the location that we were in. There was a lot of like miscommunication with that too. I had permission from the Phillipsburg Borough to film there, like that particular little alleyway. They said, "Oh yeah, that like we own that. Like you can film there. We have it on tap. So if anybody calls the cops, you're good to go." I'm like, "Oh, cool." Well, we start filming. A guy comes out with a lead pipe, and he's like, "Oh, you have to get off my property." And I'm like, "Oh, great, here we go." But my thought process was, I'm in full Batman costume. He comes out with a lead pipe and says, "You have to get off my property." I'm like, how how crappy of a person do you have to be to tell Batman to get off your property? Like, come on. Like would you rather like people do like actual criminal activity in your alleyway or like film a harmless movie?
Right.
Granted, granted, we had an actor there on the ground with her eyes gouged out, which that was another really gross scene that Nick and Mackenzie absolutely killed the makeup for. I completely forgot about that. Um, but yeah, that whole part was really funny. He came out again when we did reshoots, and I'm like, oh my god.
Imagine he comes out with a lead pipe and you just turn towards him. Where's Rachel?
Dude, I was the gloves I wore were like they're lethal, like they hurt. So like I was like, I hope he tests me. Like, oh man, this is gonna be gold. But
Oh
no,
man.
it was fine.
Uh, so what themes were you most excited to explore through Pig and the Dolatrons?
I just wanted to explore the like mental trauma, I guess that the pig truly has. And like I said, he has like a mommy complex, I guess, at his core,
Yeah.
like pig does. So like I just wanted to really translate like how twisted he is. Like he's just a human who I guess absorbs knowledge really well and uses that towards his own sick, twisted, thought process. And with the Dolatrons, those kind of go hand in hand because they're, extensions of him. But like when they first show up in the movie, like I I guess like we were talking earlier, like Pig's not a very well known villain. So when people see it for the first time, they're like, "What in the absolute hell is this?" Um, oh, my phone just locked. What's going on? You can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Um, yeah, like the way they move and stuff when you first see them like on screen, you're like, "Ew." Like it was kind of like original like Night of the Living Dead style.
Okay.
Like George Romero kind of like early 70s zombie stuff. And then when we fight, um, when we did the choreography for the fight, I guess the one thing I wanted to say is like these guys aren't skilled. I guess they're not skilled fighters. They're mental patients, so they're going into this like, oh, we're setting out to kill Batman so that Pig can, you know, do what he's supposed to do. But Batman, like, obviously, Batman's not on his A game either. So there's like, they're kind of like equals in terms of like mental. I don't know what the right word is for it, but um, they're not skilled. Batman is skilled, but he's not on top of it. So he's a little sluggish. He's a little sloppy with his fighting as we're there, very robotic, and like they're just trying to like inflict as much pain in a short amount of time as possible. I guess that if that's the easiest way to describe it. So, they miss punches. They kind of stand there and they hesitate because they're like, oh, what do I do? So there's a little bit of that. Um, and then with Pig, like it's very just visceral. It's very like you're just in my way, kind of deal.
Right.
So yeah, they both kind of have the same not fight style, but like thought process. They want to inflict as much pain in a short amount of time as possible because I have shit to do, basically. Um,
Right.
I guess Batman has that thought process too, but that goes without saying.
Yeah. And we had touched base on the film leaning more into the psychological horror. Did you
Mhm.
go more for fear, identity, control, or something else entirely?
Fear, identity, control. That's a good one. I would say it's a mixture of fear and identity because like Batman is like a symbol of hope and he also instills fear. and at the same time, he is kind of having an identity crisis within himself. So like, and then there's Pig, who uh is instilling fear. He's not really meaning to, but he is. Um, and then he's kind of having an identity crisis too, where like he's becoming more of a symbol, like the pig, rather than himself. He's kind of just abandoned his real, like, who he really is. Um, so he's become something different. And again, like that's kind of like that yin and yang, cut from the same cloth deal with like Batman and the pig in this. Is they're very much the same person. They're just on just slightly different paths, and all it takes is one thing to alter that, I guess. But yeah, I would say fear and identity are both the big factors into it.
Gotcha. Uh, After creating this version of Pig, Gotham, and Batman, do you feel like there are more horror-driven stories in this corner of the universe that you'd want to explore?
100%, yes. We've been talking heavily about like, if this goes super well when it's out, which already, with like how well the trailer has been received, and like when the movie's out, I'm pretty sure we're gonna do like a sequel. We'll lean more into like the action side of Batman, but the horror will always be throughout. Like I really want to keep the horror elements going, and uh the actress that's playing Batgirl and I were talking about trying to keep like promotion going, keep people hyped up, until we release it. We had talked about doing a really short, like maybe just straight to TikTok or straight to YouTube Reels, 5-10 minute short film of just Batgirl, kind of like kind of like a really short prequel to this movie, just to kind of like tide people over for a bit.
Right.
And if we do that, it's only going to require four or five people, and it would be like super easy. So we'll have a chance to kind of lean into the horror there too, to really like set the tone, like so people know what they're kind of getting themselves into. Um, which I should probably get a hold of Nick about helping out with that too, if we decide to do that.
Yeah. Would probably be a solid idea with knowing how good he is at makeup and everything.
Oh my God, yeah, yeah. We want to do something that like directly goes right into the movie, and there's like it's just like some like drug lord people kind of deal. So like that story could be like really easy to like hammer out super quick, because we're pretty much done editing the whole movie. We're just going through and doing all the fine details and music and all the stuff, just to really polish it. So, but yeah, I kind of got derailed there for a second, but yeah, the horror element is what we want to keep doing, and I think there's so many different characters to explore in like Batman's uh, rogues gallery that would fit super well into the horror element.
Yeah.
It's just trying to figure out which ones to do,
Yeah.
which ones I can do within my budget, basically.
Yeah. Now that kind of leads into the next question. Um, if you, if money wasn't an issue, if you could
Oh,
tackle another horror-focused Batman villain, other than Pig, who would it be and why?
oh man, I love Scarecrow with a burning passion. I would love to do Scarecrow, but there's something in me that wants me to do I really like Killer Croc too. Um, hmm, I would have to narrow it down to at least those two. I'm like looking around my room right now, because I'm like, why can't I think of any villain? Everyone's first like assumption is probably like Joker, but I love Joker. Don't get me wrong, but he is way, 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 way overdone. And I
Right.
want to do something different. Um, I think Scarecrow is probably the easiest one because like his whole thing is his MO is fear. But
Right.
I think a Killer Croc one would kick ass. Uh, Like like the first Arkham Asylum game when you're in the sewers and you're walking on the wood planks with the water, and if you like start running, he like bursts up out of the water and starts chasing you. That shit scared me as a kid. I was like,
Oh yeah.
oh my God. So I think if you could do a full now, obviously you can't ground that story because it's a man who is a crocodile, but like contain it as much as you can, I guess. Like I don't want this giant creature. I want something kind of like the bad Suicide Squad Killer Croc, but bigger. Um, something somewhat practical, like a guy in a suit. If we had some budget with like CGI, we could obviously do that. But I think Killer Croc would be a really cool, like fun one.
Yeah. I would like to see somebody like Man Bat, I think would be really
I
cool.
see, like I couldn't even think of Man Bat right off the gate, but oh, my TV just turned on. But yeah, Man Bat would be a great one. Oh shoot, what's another good one?
I've
Um,
never been able to pronounce his last name. Uh but Victor Saz
oh oh, Victor Zaz. I love
Zaz,
Victor Zaz.
I thought he would be pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a great one too. And it's funny too because like I think the Arkham games do a really good job of taking like kind of like normal Batman villains and making them like extra creepy and like kind of scary. So um there's a lot of villains in Batman's like the Arkham games that do a good job of that I would like to kind of translate. Hugo Strange is a good one too. Um he's not like super scary or anything, but I think he's just twisted enough. Trying to think. Oh, we had kicked around this idea at one point about doing Mr. Freeze, and I know he's not scary off the rip, but if I could somehow do this, like I have a version of Mr. Freeze in my head that is horrifying. Um, I just haven't been able to get it out on like pen and paper or to explain it quite right. But like the absolute Batman stuff right now is doing Mr. Freeze. Like he is horrifying. If you haven't looked at it yet, do so. It's scary.
Cool. I'm excited.
Absolute Batman is bonkers. It is one of the coolest Batman like runs I've seen in recent memory, and it just takes everything you know about Batman and flips it on its head. And it's like, oh, they're not going to go down that route. They do, and it's messed up. It's so cool.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Uh Batman has he's I don't know how to explain it. He's always been one of my favorites just because
Hmm.
he's one of the few superheroes that is as close to human as you can really get.
Yeah,
Um, because like you can't really relate with like Doctor Strange or like
right.
you or anybody like that. Any superhero. I've always been more Marvel. That's why all my things have been
I I
Marvel.
love I love Marvel too. I did a Punisher cosplay uh almost a year ago. I love the again, I guess it's because I like Batman, but I like the grounded Marvel characters like Daredevil, Punisher.
Hmm.
Um, Spider-Man's not grounded, but like he kind of like he's like that middleman between all the big guys and then like the ground level ones. But
Yeah.
um, you're kind of right though. Like Batman is more relatable, I guess, at a human level. Um, I always put Daredevil, Punisher, Batman, and there's someone I'm missing that I love that's like a human superhero. But those
Hawkeye?
three are like the big. Hawkeye is another good one. He's a super underrated uh character. I don't think the Marvel movies quite did him justice.
Oh no, they shafted him.
Yeah,
His
like
whole
the
thing is
closest.
he never misses, but like the
Yeah,
whole film he just misses.
yeah. Like he is the good guy version of Bullseye, but he's also equally as like badass, I would say. He's not crazy obviously, but like in Endgame when they like did the whole Ronin storyline, I got so excited for that and they showed one short scene of him as Ronin and that was about it. I'm like, can't we can't we get like a mini series of him as Ronin and like just messing people up?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
He deserves that. He deserves that.
He does, especially after Marvel.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of good storylines with him in the comics too, but yeah, like I don't know.
Alrighty. So, where can people watch this film once it is released?
It will be on YouTube. Um that'll be the main place to watch it. If all things goes well, it'll stay on YouTube. But we are looking at maybe making a website of our own. There's some other YouTube copy that's out there now. I forget what it's called. Someone brought it up to me the other day. But yeah, YouTube will be the main place to be able to watch it. We have socials on TikTok, Instagram. Um, I think that's it right now. Just those two.
Gotcha.
But those are like the two big ones to get like a lot of reach. Um, but yeah, I'm sure we'll make a Facebook at some point. But yeah, it'll be on YouTube. Um, I don't want to lock in a day or a date for it yet, but we're really leaning towards March, putting it out. So um, whenever this is out and anybody watches it, like March is the goal to get it out there. So we'll have other trailers and things out beforehand.
Okay. And anybody watching, the link to all of their socials will be in the description as well. So make
Awesome.
sure to check that out. Um, and I assume if fans want to follow your future projects, they'll be within their socials as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Which we are working on another project as we speak, not Batman related. Um, Something to kind of keep the juices flowing and like keep us active and getting more experience because the Batman sequel is very, very, very ambitious. So we got a lot of work to do.
Alrighty. I like it. And so thank you, Corey, for joining me. And
No, thank you, man, for having me.
everybody watching this, thanks for checking this video out. Make sure you guys check out the film, support the writers, directors, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Goodbye.